Okay, so now let's connect it up. Now, I brought another one of these over here so we can actually take a look at it. If you see, you can see that this side over here is labeled 5 volts, and this side over here is a negative. There's an empty pin right here, which is 5 volts. That's designed for another purpose. But the bottom line is this is 5 volts, and this other side here is negative. So if we flip it over, it's also labeled here. You can see that this is 5 volts, and this is negative. And then we have the pins RS, E, D4, D5, D6, and D7 all laid out in a row. So what you want to do, if you can, it doesn't matter. You can see that I have female wires here. I just dug around and I found one that's got a, they're all stuck together. I got 8 wires. They don't have to be stuck together. It just makes it, well, it makes it look certainly better. But you can just get any 8 female wires. And I'm going to use this again as a reference. Again, look at this. This is 5 volts. This side's ground. So that means that on this one, that means I'm going to make my orange wire 5 volts, and my red wire is essentially going to be the E, and we'll review that in a second. And I'm just going to hook these straight up, right in a row, like so. Sometimes it's easier. You can actually hook it up to this before you even plug it into your LCD if you want to. Either way is fine. I had a spare, so I'm able to look at it as a reference. Okay. So in other words, you could easily have just, connected it here while holding it in your hand, and then we can plug it into the back of the LCD once all the wires are connected. So, the important ones, well, they're all important, but we really need to be careful of our 5 volts and our ground, and mine are orange and blue. So I'm going to run this around, and I'll probably mount this like this. In fact, I'll probably just tighten this up a bit right now. Tighten it up. Hold it in place at least a little bit. And that makes my orange one 5 volts. So I can plug it into any of the red bus on this side. I'm currently set on 5 volts. So I'm going to plug it in. Actually, I'm going to unplug this for the moment. I'm going to plug it in way down here in that very last one. And then I'm going to take the blue, okay, which is my ground, and I'm going to plug it in to the black on the very last one. And if all is good, your LCD should kind of light up, like so. Okay? And then I'm going to plug these guys in just in sequence. I'm going to, for the moment, pull my USB so that I don't have any chances of a short. And I'm going to plug these guys in. Let's see, where am I going to plug them in? Actually, I'm going to jump them across. I think. Yes, I am. Oh, that one popped out. Put that one back in. There we go. Sure it's good in there. I'm going to put these in like so. So I'm going to put that in 12 and 11 and 10 and 9 and 8 and 7. Okay. Make sure they're all seated. They're quite all seated. I've got one that's being stubborn. I'm going to pause it and see if I can get this last one in better. Okay, so I've got it all hooked up, right? I got it hooked up to pins 7 through 12 in a perfect row. I'll hold it back there so you can kind of see it. The only other thing I did in the last minute is I fed my wire underneath here. And I did that literally by just sliding this off and slipping it under. Okay, so now I've got the LCD display and we're ready to actually see if it works. So to do that, we just need to open up a piece of Arduino code, anything we've got going on. And then you're going to go to File, Examples, scroll down to liquid crystal, and then I would, let me slide that up so you can see it, then I would just choose Hello World. It's a classic. Okay? And what we need now to do is set these pins in the right direction. So it's going to go RS, EN, D4, D5, D6, D7. And currently it's set up for 12, 11, and then 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, and 2. Okay, we've got ours all. Let me get this out of the way. And let's make this a lot smaller so we can kind of work together. Slide this down. Okay. So, let's look at this. We'll look at these colors. I'll pull this down. So my red wire is hooked up to RS. And follow my red wire goes to pin 12, which is awesome. That's already there. My purplish wire is hooked to E, and E, if we follow that, goes down to this purplish wire. It goes on down, this brown wire, it goes on down to 11, okay, which is also perfect. So now we just have to look at D4, which is the next in sequence, which is, in my case, this black wire. Black wire goes to, that was 12, 11, that makes it 10. Okay, so that's going to be 10, and I just plugged them in row, so that means that's going to be a 9. This is going to be an 8, and this is going to be a 7. So if everything worked the way it should, when we load this up, we should get it to display Hello World, and in fact it does. And if it doesn't, if you have something like this, or even nothing at all, try turning this knob right here. Okay, and then you'll be able to optimize it. So now you can see that it is working perfect. I can scroll down here. I can change this. I'll say hi GS robot. I can't even spell it. Yeah, that's robotics. And then load it up. And it should just print it. Okay, awesome. So if you got that working, fantastic. We're ready for the next set. Just check your wiring if it doesn't work, and of course adjust the potentiometer if you don't get anything. And I will see you all again shortly.